Several parts of the country are dealing with a situation of acute water scarcity. A quarter of the country's population is drought hit. There is a situation where a city like Latur is being sent trainloads of water every day to quench the people's thirst. Why has it come to this? Why is a country which is blessed with 2 monsoons, it has bountiful rivers, is it completely dependent on the weather for its water needs? Well, we have to answer these questions with us Water Resources Secretary Shashi Shekhar on Candid Conversation today. So welcome to our show. Just tell us what is the situation right now in the country? How alarming is it? Because everybody is wondering what's happening in Latur with trainloads of water going every day.
The current problem in the country is largely on account of successive monsoon failures. In Maharashtra, it is a third monsoon failure. So the water table, the groundwater, the surface water, all have been depleted badly.
And our reservoirs, the situation with the reservoirs is such that there's just 24% water left in the major 91 reservoirs. Will we have a situation where there will be a longer list of cities now that will be supplied water in the manner that is being supplied to Latur?
No, this is a very larger question. We need to understand water far more comprehensively. What is the source of water? How do we manage our the availability in the water? Precipitation is the only source of water in this country, or for that matter any country. Very large percentage of precipitation is in the form of snow and the snow-clad mountains which are permanently under snow, the glaciers. We receive about 4,000 billion cubic meter of precipitation, out of which utilizable, what we call it, is about 2,000 billion cubic meter, out of which about 500 to 600 billion cubic meter should go below the subsurface, that is, which forms the groundwater, and rest over the surface, and the balance drain into the sea. Monsoon is spread over in a period of about 90 days. We receive about 30-40 downpours. So this is the water that we have to store. And what you store would cater to the needs for the rest 365 days. This fundamental we need to understand. So how much we store and where we store is the second issue that we need to address. You know, traditionally we used to store water by creating a large number of tanks and check dams, percolation tanks, areas, the water stressed, naturally water stressed areas where the south of Vindhyas, Bundelkhand, these were the naturally water stressed area, Rajasthan side. At all these locations you will find there are large number of tanks. Our forefathers created very large number of tanks. For example, Bundelkhand, the 14 districts spread over in 2 states, Madhya Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh. There are identified more than 10,000 tanks. Holding water in these 10,000 tanks would recharge your groundwater. Groundwater does not suffer any...
But we've not been able to hold the water?
We have, over the period of time, unfortunately, the water sector was dominated by big dams. Post-independence water sector, unfortunately, was dominated by construction of huge dams rather than reviving this, the tanks, ponds, check dams, percolation tanks, so that your groundwater improves. Groundwater actually provides drinking water requirement for 85% of villages. 65% of irrigation needs, and in urban area almost like 50-55% of your drinking water needs. This being so, why did we neglect groundwater is the first question that we need to address, and the first thing that we need to now address and handle. If we have to drought proof the country, first and foremost...
Was it a misconception that it's an inexhaustible resource?
That was a misconception, but the number of blocks that started becoming drier and drier should have opened our eyes, which unfortunately...
Because now there are alarming reports that by 2050 we'll have to import water, which is unthinkable.
In fact, if we do the survey today, we call a block as dry or overexploited or dark, is where the dynamic recharge. No, every monsoon the water table goes up, then we exploit water table goes down. So if the exploitation level increases or exceeds the recharge level, then the block automatically becomes dry. So every year if your exploitation level is exceeding the recharge level, then the water table will keep going down every year and you reach almost rock bottom. Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Gujarat, all these where groundwater table has significantly sunk. So we need to address this as a first step, because 70% of the country, the bottom is a rock. Right. It's only 30% of the country where you have soft rock, that is alluvium soil, is the Indo-Gangetic plain, the Terai belt of any mountains. These are the places where actually groundwater recharge takes place extensively. You have substantial quantum of groundwater available. The rest of the places it's hard rock. So you have say about 20-30 meters of soil. That we must ensure that adequate rainwater harvesting takes place so that water goes into the subsoil system. Then the second thing is how do we manage water. So first is the supply side. Construct series of check dams, percolation tanks, rainwater harvesting structures in the form of desilting all those old tanks. In fact, Tamil Nadu today, I was discussing with a colleague in Tamil Nadu. They said now we are taking a satellite picture and also verifying it with the Survey of India topo sheet, 100 years old topo sheet, and all the vanished tanks now they are trying to relocate, revive, so that water is held, the rainwater is held in those tanks. Once these tanks have rainwater, there will be some dead storage post monsoon that will keep recharging the groundwater.
Let's talk about the centre's efforts now, because water is a state subject otherwise, but the centre is making a lot of effort to ensure, at least on the supply side, these things that you're mentioning, they are now given precedence, and the centre is also giving funds for that purpose. Even the Manrega is being used now, I guess to a larger extent, far larger extent than earlier conceived for this purpose.
The Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister, has time and again been saying that Manrega must be used extensively for creating rainwater harvesting structures and the traditional system of water conservation. He has been time and again saying, and I think yesterday also in the Civil Services Day, he stressed upon this particular fact. But all these things is basically supply side. After supply side, once you have stored water, suppose you have constructed large number of check dams and percolation tanks, desilted the old tanks and water bodies, your water availability increases in those village. Thereafter, how you use the demand side management. Yes. Unfortunately, our system so far has completely neglected demand side management. There are certain good examples. Let me see one example of Tamil Nadu again. Then some examples of Maharashtra, some good examples of Gujarat. Let me give one example of Hevre Bazaar in Maharashtra. It is in Ahmednagar district, Perambur in Pudukkode district of Tamil Nadu. That will explain what we need to do to drought-proof the country. Once you have stored adequate rainwater, as I said, the rainwater is the only source of water, particularly the river, which is the area which are not fed by snow. So how much you store over the surface, below the surface. What goes below the surface is like an insurance against any drought, because it doesn't suffer any evaporational losses. In Perambur, there were a number of tanks. They stored water in the tanks. Rest of the water went below the ground level, formed the groundwater. Then they did the water budgeting. How much, what is my population, what is my human needs, then what is the needs of the animals. So these two must make my priority in allocation. Okay. If you have X amount of water, the priority obviously has to be drinking water and the water for animals. Thereafter, what is available, how you use for agriculture purpose. Then they found that their total agricultural requirement exceeded the total water availability. Then the community as a whole decided that we must switch over to low water intensive crops. So they reduced the paddy cultivation, increased horticulture, increased ragi, increased bajra.
That's great.
They did not stop with that. Then they moved and they said that we must further manage the water more efficiently. So they moved to drip and sprinkler irrigation as a community. The entire village took that decision.
Where do they find the money to do it?
Government provides a lot of subsidy. Manrega they use for desilting the tanks, like that. So
because money is one factor which automatically comes in the farmer's mind, that all this will require more expenses from our side, and switching will require other changes as well. How do you convince the farmer, and where do you get resources to the farmer to ensure this happens?
As far as supply side is concerned, most of the money came from the self-help. In Tamil Nadu, there was the traditional system of what they call it khudi marammat. So khud is self and marammat is repair. So the khudi marammat they used to do on their own. So that tradition still survives in Tamil Nadu. Thereafter, resources came from Manrega. As far as drip and sprinkler irrigation is concerned, there is subsidy available. But I would try to go beyond subsidy, because if the entire country moves to drip and sprinkler, the amount required would be very, very substantial, which no government would be in a position to address. But how we can do that, that part we can address. So let us understand these two examples, because that will give idea as how the entire country should address this problem. They did the water budgeting, moved to less water intensive crop as a community. Then they moved to water efficient consumption of water through drip and sprinkler irrigations. Today that village has become water surplus. In fact, 2 years back that village was water deficit. The total water availability is about 9 lakh liters. Today they are saving almost on an average about 4,000-5,000 liters every year. Why we are not able to propagate this, or one successful example why it doesn't get translated across the state, when you have identical environmental condition, which means rainfall being identical, soil type being identical. Maharashtra gets except the eastern part, which is I think Vidarbha Marathwada. Rest of the places get ranging from 900 to 1200 millimeter of rainfall average. Certain places, of course, is close to 3000. So
replicating this remains a challenge. We'll talk about this further. We're taking a short break at this point in Candid Conversation. Later, we'll talk about what other measures is the centre taking in terms of even new laws to ensure that demand management is the focus, and that is what is managed in this water crisis. Short break right now.
हर दिन बदलती खबरें, हर पल बनती नई सुर्खियां, खबरों की रफ्तार के साथ हर दोपहर दुनिया की ताजा तस्वीर। दोपहर समाचार रोजाना 2 बजे सिर्फ डीडी न्यूज पर।
डीडी न्यूज अब हर बड़े डीटीएच प्लेटफॉर्म और केबल नेटवर्क पर उपलब्ध। फ्री डिश पर देखें डीडी न्यूज चैनल नंबर 2 पर, डिश टीवी पर चैनल 549 पर, टाटा स्काई पर चैनल 453 पर, एयरटेल पर चैनल 290 पर, सन डायरेक्ट पर चैनल 550 पर, वीडियोकॉन पर चैनल 328 पर, रिलायंस पर चैनल 405 पर, हैथवे पर चैनल 227 पर और डेन केबल पर चैनल 320 पर। डीडी न्यूज, केवल खबर, पूरी खबर। बड़ी खबरें जिनसे बनती हैं दुनिया भर में सुर्खियां, अहम मुद्दे जो डालते हैं विश्व पर अपना असर, दुनिया के हर कोने से हर बड़ी खबर पर हमारी नजर। खबर दुनिया की, सिर्फ डीडी न्यूज पर।
Welcome back. You're watching Candid Conversation with Water Resources Secretary Shashi Shekhar. He's talking about, well, an issue which is now perhaps the biggest concern of the government, water scarcity, and how to address it. One is the supply side, the other is the demand side. Mr. Shekhar, you're talking about examples that you've given in places that are in Maharashtra that were water scarce 2 years back, and now they're water surplus. Why has that not been replicated in other parts of the country?
Water is a state subject. And water subject, unfortunately, even at the state level, you find that it is fragmented into a couple of different departments.
Okay.
One is irrigation department, which thinks only of big dams and surface storage in the form of reservoir. Groundwater department, unfortunately, is like a distant cousin in this, even at the state level. The amount of
it's not a priority.
It's not a priority. The resource provided to the groundwater department is very
Do you think in the past there's been a lot of leakage as well, as far as big dams are concerned, and all these projects that are there, which are supposed to serve a dual purpose of not just getting water to fields but also electricity?
Not all projects are hydroelectric projects. Some of the projects are also they generate electricity. As far as leakage part is concerned, let it be addressed by the Comptroller and General CAG. I would like to address different parts. We found that big number of dams we created, but we did not address the demand side of it. Water we created, why did we held water in these places? We hold this water basically to supply water to the farmers. If a particular project had 1 lakh hectares or 2 lakh hectares as the command, the design command, we should have ensured that everybody gets water.
Right.
The entire 2 lakh hectares must get water. This 2 lakh hectares of design command was through flow irrigation, which means huge amount of wastage. The delivery of water only through canals. Now canals, a lot of evaporational losses take place, and second, a lot of seepage losses take place. You will see large areas under waterlogged, facing waterlogged problem. So we suffer 2 losses. One is the evaporation losses. Second, we also waste land in the form of waterlogging. So we should have ensured efficient delivery. Now in future we are trying to say that right from the dam you deliver through the pipes, underground pipes, so that you don't have to even acquire land. So big pipes, then delivery pipes, and the minor pipes, and then minor outlets. Each minor outlet thereafter would irrigate a small area of 40 hectares to 200 hectares, what we call it as a chuck. Now you have a limited source of water. Water becomes finite the moment you create a reservoir. We are still not trying. In the past we allowed flow irrigation to take place. Now we are going and convincing the farmers, because most of the farmers could not get water, particularly the tail end could not get water. So we are revising our guidelines. We are saying that one, you form the water users association for each of the miners. The water users association must decide as who will get water first, who will get water second, who will get water. So the tail end will get water first. That's a part of our guidelines. Then once the tail end gets water, then in the water budgeting automatically takes place from the downstream to the upstream. Then everybody knows how much of water each will get.
Right.
Then we have seen that places where it has become successful, for example in Madhya Pradesh it has become successful. There people have automatically switched over to drip and sprinkler irrigation.
Okay.
Change the cropping patterns.
But do you think all this needs to be done now in a more perhaps centralized in legal manner. There needs to be a law. You're drafting a model law for that purpose as well, which states can adopt.
We are drafting, we had earlier drafted a model law which we sent to the state. Now our model law will provide much more thrust on the demand side. Our model law in the past was more on the supply side. It addressed more on the supply side. Now we want to address more on the demand side, because actual problem lies here.
How will the law do that? Could you give us some examples?
No, a model law means since this being a state subject, it acts as a guidance. There is a definite need, time has come, there has to be a national law so that people adopt by law. A model law a state may or may not adopt, but time has come, we have to relook at the entire thing. We means as a nation, how we should manage our water, where we should hold water, how much the water the river must have. River has the first right of having water. Most of the rivers have become dry during the non-monsoon period because we 100% hold water.
So limits to usage of water, how do you make that binding? Is there any scope, is there a possibility to make it binding through law?
Any law on a subject which is under the constitution is of the states. Most of the states will have to agree for a national law. Only then the nation can.
Are they coming around to that idea that we have started this process through our various discussions. You know, once in a year we hold Jal Manthan. Last 2 years we have been holding Jal Manthan. What is the centre advocating to the states? What do they need to do? Do they need to make this law? We are trying to convince to the state that time has come where there has to be a national law so that all states address issue of water. Restrict water usage, over exploitation of groundwater, adoption of demand management techniques such as drip irrigation, sprinklers. All that will be there.
All that will be together. In supply side, how you should manage the supply side, how you should manage water over river basin basis. Once you know how much of water is available, how you allocate your water, how you prioritize your water allocation. For example, drinking water has to be my priority.
So if we follow this methodology at the micro level, each farmer can be told that, look, this is the amount of water that you need for your fields, this is the amount of water that you should be using, and if you go beyond this, there will be a problem for you.
Precisely. How much of water that is available for you, that we have to inform. So now we have started a project. Earlier it was for only 13 states had adopted. Now we have made it as a national project called National Hydrology Project. Each and every village will know once the entire project is completed, which will complete in 3 to 4 years time. Each and every village, each and every district will know how much of water is available with them, and they will know it on an online basis, real-time basis. Once they know, then they can plan for their water budgeting and water usage. Our role is more and more of convincing, more and more of capacity building so that they manage their resources better.
Let's hope your convincing works. And the other aspect is, of course, we have a country where areas are drought prone. We have a country where areas are flood prone as well. And if we have a bountiful monsoon, I'm sure we'll see that contrast come through in just a couple of months. And river linking is an issue which is expected to address that. How far are we down that road, and will we see results in the next couple of years?
You know, there are about 16 priority interlinking projects. When you talk of interlinking, we talk about linking a river from one basin to the other basin, and basically between 2 or 3 or more states.
Such as the Ken-Betwa project.
Like Ken-Betwa, it is between UP and Madhya Pradesh. Yes. Now Ken-Betwa, the entire project report is available. What we require is clearances from the Environment Ministry. Basically, since about 4,000 hectares of Panna Tiger Reserve and some prime forest is getting submerged, that clearance is required. We seem to be in an advanced stage because state has already given its wildlife clearance. It was placed before the National Board. National Board had sent a team to the Panna Tiger Reserve to see as how whether the experts would advise, and then accordingly the National Wildlife Board would consider about clearance to this project. Otherwise, everything is ready from our side.
Well, let's hope that the nation chooses the best path to manage this precious resource, which we seem to be having a bit of a scarcity right now. And in the coming months and years, we have a much better response to water scarcity and make the nation drought-proof as well. Thank you so much for joining us on Candid Conversation this time around. Thank you.
Thank you very much.